Nice to have this session on first thing in the morning on weekends.
Yes.
So welcome all. So what we will do today is do a summary of chapter 1. We are almost at the end. And then I will give the credits for today's session after the summary, just before we start chapter 2. Page number 38. So this is called as the big ideas light touch. Are we there? Okay. So there is a little history for this section. So maybe it's just an anecdote thing. So when I had made the first draft of the chapter and I had given my daughter to read. After reading she said, oh yeah, it's okay, but maybe not for our age group, meaning for her age group. So this seems like a little bit more, you've brought in a lot of theories, you have referenced the right papers and the right people and so on, but can you make it more appealing for the younger people? Definitely can be improved upon to make it more palatable for the younger people, and I don't think just reading the last section is going to give anybody any immediate insight, but for us who have done all of this weeks, this will be a nice summary. That I don't have any doubts about. So that's the history of this thing. So let's start there. So basically it's like what I thought was, let's take and split ourselves into many persons. That means I'm not telling that each one of these persons are sitting on this round table is a different person. We just have to reimagine that, oh, it's each one of us with all of these characters. So that's important, not to... so these characters are pleasure, I mean it's addicted to, just for the fun, addicted to ice cream and dopamine. I use the word dopamine because you could put in anything there. Violence, food, take it, whatever you want to fill it up there. Then we have the desire. Each one of us has a part of us which is a goal chaser, like we want to achieve this and achieve that and so on. Then there is also a part which is like virtue, like doing good and have a clear moral compass. And there is a part which is engaging in flow activities, doing something really well, mastering something. And we also saw that we have this mood, like which we don't seem to be having under control, but it seems to be there in the background. And then of all of this, then we also have the ego. I put the ego as something like a controller of all of these different characteristics of us. And finally, of course, this thing, Ananda, which is the quiet bliss, timeless peace, and needs no introduction. So, just to reiterate, we have been talking about the self as that awareness in which all of this comes. But that is what we're talking about. I want to reiterate that it is the essential self. And in each of us, we all have all the other characters. So this is just a dialogue. All of them are sitting around. So ego is the one who is the central character. All right, folks, I've curated a 12-step happiness plan, and yet I feel vaguely unfulfilled. Like the ego has done everything it could do. Pleasure, this, that, everything. But it says, hey, I'm still unfulfilled. Who's dropping the ball? Meaning, who's the culprit here among all of us here? Then pleasure says, not me. As supplied bubble baths, binge-worthy series, K-drama, whatever, and cinnamon buns, you're welcome. It's not me. I've done what I need to do. Then the desire says, no, maybe what you need is that beach house in Bali. So the desire is the one who is like always thinking of the next achievement. or the other person's life on Instagram. He has achieved this, the next $1 million, whatever, all even good things. But it is chasing after the next. Then virtue says, no, what you need is a life of moral excellence. Build character, serve others, and be composed. That's the good stuff. Right? There's also a part in us which says this, right? Then flow says, hey guys, I just want everybody to stop talking. Don't talk so much. I just want to get back in the zone. When I am creating, I'm happy. Then the mood says, which is like kind of a little bit in the background, you're all noise. I'm the underlying vibe. If I tilt positive, life feels good even when nothing is happening. If I tilt negative, even like smiling puppies look sad. So it kind of says, hey. So each one of it is all there in all of us. Then ego says, so you're saying I don't control you either? It's talking to the group or to the mood. Mood says, bingo, I'm not a vending machine. You can't buy me with check boxes and cupcakes. So this is a side thing going on. And then a gentle silence falls. Then from the corner a voice, serene and unshaken, speaks, which is our Ananda or awareness which we've been talking about. You all mean well, but happiness doesn't live in pleasure, goals, moods, or moral reports. It's not an achievement. It's me, the quiet joy beneath all of this, the bliss of simply being. Counterintuitive, but still it says. Then ego says, wait, you're not even trying. To Ananda, hey, you're not doing anything, you're not even trying. Ananda, there's no need, I'm already here. I'm the awareness that sees all your efforts without clinging to any of them. The clinging is the key word here. All of this is fine, but not clinging. Bliss doesn't come after the struggle. It's what remains when the striving ends. It's always there. There is striving, ends, then we get back to this. Pleasure says, so your contentment without a trigger. That's pleasure's question to Ananda. Desire asks, happiness without any conditions? Virtue says, peace that doesn't depend on doing good. Like, I don't have to do good. Oh, okay. Flow, a state without effort. I mean, flow is an effortless state, but you need some effort to get into the flow state. Mood. Oh, you're the baseline I've been trying to explain. The mood seems to have caught it a little bit. Ananda, smiling. Exactly. I'm the quiet joy behind every experience. Not a passing feeling, but your very nature. Then everyone sits still, like the way we do our meditations. Even ego opens up the window, a breeze comes in, and they all breathe. So, that's my attempt to make it as simple as possible. Whether I succeeded or not is a different story. Yeah. So now before we go on to chapter 2, maybe if there are any reflections, not just on this one, but which anybody would like to share, then we could do that and then go to chapter 2.
I think the key message here is not striving. Not striving is an important.
Not striving or
Not
not
chasing.
clinging to striving.
Not chasing.
Yes.
It's the difference between doing and being.
Correct.
Doing and being. You have to do something to get something. All the others are talking about it. Ananda is saying just be.
Yes. But this only thing which I wanted to bring it doesn't mean we shouldn't do things.
Yeah.
Here it's like without the clinging. Oh, if I don't do it, then something is wrong. No, that's not the thing which you do. We can do whatever we want to do. But knowing behind the scenes that, okay, that's not be all and all. That's like the light touch.
I think I like the way you laid out the first chapter where you talk about moods, emotions as clouds, and how these things are more external, while your Ananda is actually more internal, and one should not look at external stimulation to drive all this thing, but it should be your own inner happiness, which I think that is the crux of.
Correct. We will see more of this as we go along. This just reminds me of a story which I heard from Swami Sarvapriyananda, in which, hopefully I can remember it correctly. There is this dog which is chewing on a bone. Like when it's chewing on the bone, it feels very good. And then it thinks, oh yeah, the happiness is coming from the bone. So what it does is then it will go and dig the earth and safe keep the bone. And then whenever it's like wants some more happiness or something, then it will come back, take the bone and chew. Every time it chews the bone, it feels very happy. Then the obvious conclusion is happiness is coming from the bone. Then there's like a side story to this. Actually, where is the happiness coming from? Every time it chews the bone, and the bone is already very dry, it bleeds from its own mouth. And then it tastes that blood and thinks, oh, it's blissful. And still attributes the happiness to the bone and not to the blood. It's just an analogy of, so the idea here we are discussing about Ananda is, yes, there is the pleasure, there is the object which brings us the pleasure, there is the striving or the thing to get something from a desire, there is the flow states, and there is the doing good. But underlying all of this is the Ananda. So the essence is here, and all of the others are also still worth. It's not worth it at all.
So happiness lies within ourselves, but we keep looking for it outside.
Correct.
And attributing to outside things like they give us pleasure, however it is. So yeah, that's the thing.
And also, if happiness was something external, and all the rich people will always be happy, all the accomplished people will always be happy, which is not true.
Yeah, that's an obvious
Yeah,
corollary.
corollary.
Yeah.
But still, it's so deep within that the layers cover it up most of the time. That sense of bliss, I don't think
There might be
I experience it. I don't think I've ever experienced it at all, or maybe if I have, it's
momentary.
been that when my mind is absolutely not thinking.
Yes, I mean, I would not agree that no one has ever, or rather, you have never experienced it. Of course, it is your experience, so you're the master of it. So you will have the most information about it. But what I'm trying to say is, like, when we all go to even deep sleep, we will talk about deep sleep later on in the book. But when we go to deep sleep, it has a certain sense of bliss, though we are not aware in the sense of
That's what
our
I
being
meant.
aware of the deep sleep, but that blankness which we feel there, it is a state with no agitations and things which bring the usual misery or the sorrow. But there is always a little bit debate whether the deep sleep is already or directly being the Atman, or is it like still the Atman which is being blocked by the blankness. But still, one thing is sure, it's a state where there is no misery.
But I think that is the point. We are so engrossed or steeped in the material world कि वो रियल आनंदा तो खत्म ही हो गया. अब आपको फ्लीटिंग आनंदा के एक दो ग्लिम्सेस मिल जाएंगे.
नहीं खत्म नहीं हुआ है, but we don't know.
But if
what
you
it
go
is.
back to our historic roots in India, where people at certain point of time would go to see this Ananda, then they have to detach themselves. So one trust में जाके, that is where when you are focusing on your inner self, is where you get the realization.
Yes.
If you go back to deep sleep, deep sleep is a process.
Mm-hmm.
You first go to sleep, you slowly get deeper and deeper, and then the dreams don't come. Then you become sort of unconscious, and you don't know how long you have slept. But one thing is common, that when you get up from deep sleep, is you had a good sleep.
Yes.
That is one thing. That why? Because you were very restful. There were no things bothering you, in worldly matters or whatever it is. So you were in a state of, equilibrium at that point in time, and therefore when you woke up, you really felt refreshed. Your body was rested, your mind was rested, and all of that. So it's an indication to you that you can get into a state which is maybe that or even beyond that, which can give you that eternal feeling of being content, being satiated, with no, worries. So that's what the sages say, that this is, they explain all of this and say, there is a fourth state, which is what Turiya, whatever it is.
The Turiya, just a small clarification, the way I understood it is, Turiya is not another state. It's not a fourth state, but it's called a fourth.
It's the fourth. Yeah.
It's a way to explain that, in Turiya, waking state, dream state, and deep sleep appears, and it keeps changing between that. So Turiya is like the underlying awareness itself. This is how Advaita explains this. It's not like one more state.
So the fundamental problem we have is we want instant gratification. So when we are awake, so actually these characters, this flow, all of them, like you said very correctly, all of them are with us. So one or more of them are, all constantly distracting us from the real purpose.
Yes.
This is my takeaway from this, whether it's pleasure, desire, addicted. So something or the other we want to do, desire, virtues or moral calm, you just have a checklist of ordered way of doing things. You feel good, it's like the dog and the bone. Flow is both easily distracted but also, intensely focused. I see that in myself, it's, I keep wavering between one and the other. So all of this, and ego, I don't want to admit to certain things.
Yes. Good.
So
only one more thing about the deep sleep. Not that we are not going to discuss it in very detail, but one of the things which Vishchi was telling was beautiful. Like he was telling, when I go to sleep from the waking state, slowly the bodily sensations all go away, but the mind is still active, right? That's why we get dreams.
Nightmares, dreams.
Nightmare, dreams, both. Yeah. Good dreams, nightmares, everything. And then at some point, the mind also drops off, and then we go into deep sleep. So there is no content at all, neither a bodily content nor a mental content. So since we have nothing to report, no experience to report, there is no passage of time. Time also is like that, you already wake up. So this whole thing is about, from your first person perspective, of course, somebody else can say, oh no, I can see your body lying down in the bed. But that's that person's view. But from your own perspective, everything is a blank.
I want to just throw this question. Perhaps that deep sleep is a part of, that blissful state. Only thing is it's temporary. But when you get up, you're back to your old, I am this, I am that.
I like the phrase nothing to report.
Yeah.
We are all the time either trying to report to the outside world or justifying something within us.
Exactly.
When you have nothing, no one to clarify things to, you are what you are. Yes.
I have a slightly different point of view on the deep sleep. Deep sleep is the closest we could find an example to, this is my thinking,
Mm-hmm.
of samadhi or when you're outside. I mean blissful of the world. But it is more in the physical plane. This is what we think, because this is what we know. Deep sleep में ही हमें कुछ और नहीं सोचता है, हम भी एकदम peaceful रहते हैं. But actually this is not what we are looking for. What we are looking for is something more permanent, more deeper,
Yeah, that's what I
more
said.
conscious.
Correct.
This is more of, ठीक है, कोई लेबरर भी जो दिन भर काम करेगा, थका मांदा, वो सोएगा. उसको हो सकता है ज़्यादा डीप स्लीप आती हो, correct? But that doesn't mean that he's reached that stage.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's only. That's why what I said is that the Turiya or the four is the underlying awareness in which the waking state, dream, and deep sleep comes and goes. So, the real deal is, even when we are waking right now, the Turiya is there, the awareness is there behind. Just that we are not we are failing to identify with that, but we are identifying with limited contents. And in the dream, we are not identifying with the awareness either, but we are identifying with some limited content which is coming in the dream. We even have a dream avatar, right? Even in dream, it's not that you don't have a body. You will have a little dream avatar being chased by something or enjoying something, whatever. And then in deep sleep, both of this drops. So it's like from a first person experience right now, also Turiya is there, in dream also it is there, in deep sleep also it is there.
So I think in some way what you're saying is that in deep sleep, see when you're a spiritual seeker, we are sitting here contemplating this. So at some point in time, we are seeking that experience that can be eternal. And that's what is our journey. So at least knowing this fact that in deep sleep you are aware that you are not aware at all is an indication that there is something beyond that. For a person who doesn't seek or he doesn't want anything to do with spirituality, okay, I had a good sleep, that's it. But so what? For him it's not that he gets up and he carries on with his life. So at least we are pausing to say, okay, there is something there, so what can that be? That is the question.
In deep sleep, you are still there.
In deep sleep, you're there, yeah.
Right? You cannot say you are not there.
Correct.
Because who is the one who had the nice deep
No,
sleep?
that's why we come
or
out
when
with
even
this.
like the moment a little stimulus comes, you are there. You are not like not there and then suddenly pop into existence. You are always there.
But at least you have experienced something. So that experiential thing is something that we can say,
Yes.
okay, it's not intellectual, it's not something, but we know.
Is it the state of being? It is a space of being in nothingness, which is so. If you say that, if you compare deep sleep to state of bliss, to me it equates to the fact that there should be a state of nothingness, which is very difficult to do when you are up and about in a daily routine.
Yes.
Even if you
Bliss,
say
we always kind of raise it a bit, but nothingness is nothingness.
There is a very nice, again Sarva Priyananda, he said, oh, this is his own. Swami Sarva Priyananda's own way of putting about deep sleep. He said deep sleep is, it's an experience of absence, not an absence of experience. Do you see the little difference? It's a subtle difference, it's not an absence of experience, it's not a nothingness, but it's an experience of absence. So, okay, there will be people debating this and all those things, but it's one way to understand.
The funny side, you got a lot of deep sleep, but I saw WhatsApp, somebody had sent, I had a good laugh on it. So there's a unemployed youth lying on a cart, in a village. मैं पूरे दिन सोता रहता हूँ, मुझे लगता है मैं विष्णु भगवान का अवतार हूँ.
Good. Yeah. Okay. I didn't expect or intend that this discussion will go to deep sleep, but it was really nice. So let's move on to chapter 2. So for chapter 2 is about the mystery of the self. So what we now need to do is kind of put aside whatever we have discussed about the self as the underlying awareness and so on. The reason why I'm trying to say is, when we are now looking at the self with a fresh eyes, we have to look at other arguments which others have made, like what they think the self is. So we cannot bring in our preconceived notions of, oh, Advaita says self is this, so all the others are wrong. It's just temporarily, when we now discuss the other, what others have thought about and what they are saying, we look at it, we give it full dedication. In the Indian philosophy, this is called as the Purva Paksha. So nothing complicated. It just means when you are discussing something or thinking about something, and if somebody has a disagreement, so they call it the interlocutor or the opponent. Whenever they have a disagreement, your job is first to be able to articulate and understand what the other person says. So it's not like the usual way these days debates happen is, oh, you straw man your opponent. That means like what? You kind of put what the opponent is telling in an easy way that you can shoot it down, straw man. But actually you're supposed to be doing a steel manning. Make it as strong as possible, and then of course you can bring in your views to say where is this problem with this and so on. So this is what we will do in this chapter. So the credits for this chapter will, to start off, today I will give it to David Chalmers and Daniel Dennett. So David Chalmers is a philosopher in the New York University, and he's very well known in the philosophy of mind. So why he is important is, from about the late 19th century and the whole of 20th century, like especially after the Industrial Revolution took off and the science became and the technology has improved a lot, materialism as a worldview became very popular. That means, like before the 19th century, if you look at Aristotle, Plato, even Descartes, Spinoza, Berkeley, all of them had like always this, they didn't know what to do with the mind and the body. They were like looking at mind and body are two different things, or like they are running parallel. So they had all of these theories, and it was always about some discussion going on there. And then somewhere after the Industrial Revolution, people said, okay, there is no such thing as a mind. So that's, okay, there is a mind. It's not that there is nothing called mind. It is not primary. That means when we have, somehow we have the physical things, and during the course of evolution, at some point they all joined together, and then consciousness or the mind came up. It means there was no mind at all, and then the mind just popped up sometime very late, maybe only 30,000 or 100,000, I don't know the exact timeline, but it's not there for like 13.8 billion years. when Big Bang happened, and then there was no mind at all, and then suddenly in evolution it popped up. So this theory became like kind of accepted. People didn't question this too much. Oh, someday, somehow we will explain how the brain produces consciousness. So why David Chalmers is very significant is, there were a lot of people who were screaming, hey, no, this is not acceptable. But David Chalmers coined a term called heart problem of consciousness. So it's just a label he gave. There were already people who were talking about this, but he gave a nice label. What is this heart problem of consciousness? We will look at it more deeply later in the section. But it's like the question: how does the brain produce consciousness? The brain is just some neurons, right? So some neurons working here and there, chemicals, and then suddenly it became taste of coffee and consciousness and so on. So he brought this question up to the forefront, and now consciousness studies is like a big thing in the West for the last 20-30 years. So it's become prominent. So that's why he has. And then today's session I'll also credit it to Daniel Dennett. So he was one philosopher who was very strictly materialist. So I will never agree with him, but I respect him a lot. So he kept his theory to the brain does produce consciousness. We don't know, but we will know it. And he was trying to explain everything else in terms of this theory. So, and then it becomes important for us because you need somebody who is making a very strong argument on the other side, right? To be able to. So today's session I've dedicated to David Chalmers and Daniel Dennett. So maybe want to read? You'll read?
The mystery of self.
Wait 1 second. Yep.
The mystery of self. Who are we really? From the earliest days of human thought, the question of who am I has been an enduring enigma, inviting philosophers, scientists, and mystics alike into a journey of self-discovery. As we gaze into the mirror, we might see our familiar reflection, eyes, hair, and features we have come to recognize. Beneath these physical attributes lies a more profound question. If our bodies and minds are always changing, can we truly speak of a permanent self?
Yep, continue.
Our physical form morphs as we age, emotions ebb and flow, and memories fade. Yet, amid this continuous flux, we hold on to an inherent sense of I, a core identity that remains intact despite the changes we undergo. Is this self merely an illusion, a byproduct of fleeting experiences and mental constructs, or is there something deeper and more stable beneath the surface?
Okay. So let's start again from the beginning. So in the very first session, I think Neeraj ji was telling, yeah, but what is this self? We were talking about many things, and then you were asking about what is this additional thing called self we are talking about? Is it the Atma or something like that? You brought out this question, right? We were talking about, there is an unchanging self amidst all these changing things. Our physical form morphs as we age, emotions ebb and flow, memories fade. Yet, amid this continuous flux, we hold on to an inherent sense of I. This is, in our experience, true. Right? We think there is an I. With all of but we can observe our physical form, we can observe our emotions, we can observe our memories, but self is an implicit thing. So the question comes, so people have been thinking about this for thousands and thousands of years. Right? The earliest Upanishads and things like that is like 25,000 years, and in the West at least, the Greeks, maybe 3,000 years. So is this self merely an illusion, a byproduct of fleeting experiences and mental constructs? So the question comes, hey, are we just making this up? This, oh, I have a self. I'm just putting some doubts here because these are genuine doubts, right? Because you can't observe it. Like, we make up so many things. Are we making it up? There's actually no such thing as self. Or is there something deeper and more stable beneath the surface? This becomes like an open question. Philosophers throughout history have offered varied answers. Some propose that self is a constant and unchanging essence that transcends physical decay, what some might call the soul or ego. Some of us might say, oh, ego is the self. Or we say, soul is the self. Just because there is something which is unchanging doesn't automatically imply some unchanging Atman. It can be your ego, okay. There might be an ego which is constant from birth until death. Or there might be like a single Atma which is there from birth until death. All of these are possibilities. So there are three possibilities here now. There is nothing called a self, we are just simply making it up. The second possibility is self is just the ego. Oh, ego stays constant from birth until death. The third possibility is there is an Atma which goes on, which has transmigrated from one body, it has come here and then it goes on and then until the death it will go to the next body. These three options are there. And there is also a fourth option, that is this Advaitic view which says, oh, the self is always there, in which all of these experiences occur. So which of these we should pick? So this is we'll start off with not privileging any of these as, oh yes, this is the right way to go. Others argue that self is nothing more than a narrative we construct to make sense of our lives. In this chapter, we will explore these perspectives in depth, considering the enduring debates about nature of the self, from bodily theories of identity to the more profound views of consciousness in Eastern thought, particularly Advaita Vedanta. So we will cover all of this and then we will go into the Advaitic view of self. We will journey beyond the body and mind, probing deeper into what it means to experience a continuous sense of self, while reflecting on the timeless awareness that might lie at the heart of who we truly are. Okay. So how long do we have? Oh, it's already 45. Okay, then, since only there are a few of us, we don't want to proceed more. Let's maybe when next week, when there are more people, we can start with the section 1. So let's do a 15-minute meditation. Sit comfortably. Take a deep breath in. And relax. Let's take our stand as the awareness. Become aware of the sounds around you. the sound of the air conditioner. Become aware of your bodily sensations. The weight of your body on the chair. Maybe there is a little feeling of cold. Just do a little body scan to see if there is any places where there is any tension that you feel. Any tension, any pain, just let it go. Relax. We're just bringing all experiences, both external and what we call as internal, under awareness. The idea of sounds being external, the smell of the agarbatti is external, and the bodily sensations is internal, only makes sense when we consider ourselves to be the body. We take ourselves to be the awareness, just simply awareness. The distinction between the internal and external doesn't make sense anymore. The sound of the aircon, the smell of the agarbatti, and our bodily sensations. All of them arise in awareness. Today we were discussing deep sleep. In our meditation, with our eyes closed, we don't have the sense of sight. Now imagine if you could not consider the sense of sound as your own, but as that which is arising in awareness. When we go to sleep, we lose our sense of sight, sense of hearing, smell. We're not even aware of our body, feelings lying on the bed. We still have some thoughts, images, and we call that a dream. Your dream avatar and your dream thoughts also arise and pass away in awareness. And at some point, even those thoughts and the dream images disappear and we drift into deep sleep. In deep sleep, there is nothing, no experience of the passage of time, nothing to report. So let's stay as awareness for some time. Inevitably thoughts will arise. Just bring it back to your breath. There is this sense of vast spaciousness. Do not worry if it is very cluttered. There may be thoughts, images. Whatever comes, let it come. Be interested in the vast spaciousness. Let's take another deep breath in. Become aware of your bodily sensations. External sounds. Your breath. And slowly and gently, whenever you are ready, you may open your eyes. Okay. You can see a nice smile. Okay, any thoughts? We can just have a
Yeah.
free discussion.
I think the biggest mystery is the self. I think this is a good topic. Let's see how we go through this and what reactions we get.
And the interesting thing is, it is about ourselves, so you cannot not be interested in it. It's something which is so relevant to all of us because we're asking the question, who are you? What is the self?
But it's interesting only to a certain group of people, isn't it? A lot of people are not bothered to find out.
Because they think maybe they know, which is this body only. That is why they are again and again probably circling in the Maya, the delusional happiness, which they think they get and then they lose it.
And it has been questioned from the very start that human beings पहली बार सोचना शुरू किया और स्टार्स को देख के कौन है कहाँ से आए बट देन फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम पीपल वर doing the basic needs hunting gathering eating and now I think this is my thinking with lot robotics automation AI coming in you will have more and more time now to think and dwell upon this topic because सारे jobs तो अब AI करने वाली है next 20-30 years में so philosophy will again come to the forefront.
Two points. One is, it's not that people are not interested in the self. If you look at our entire self-help literature, it's all about being yourself. How do you be yourself? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? So this investigation is going on for a long time. But the assumption is made that you are this body mind and then from there you go and explore. So that the idea of that, you may not even be your body mind has not come into the mainstream thinking. And the second thing about the robotics, now if you have a robot which is intelligent, which doesn't look any different from you. Say for example, you can make one which looks like in some of the serials which you see, and then how do you distinguish whether that has a self or not? Because that's got all these machines running, and it behaves, acts and talks like you. So then the argument can be, hey, you are exactly like that. There is no such thing as self. If you put all these parts together and if it can work, move and do things which you are doing, why do you think that you are anything more? Where is this Atma? I mean, this question will come up, right?
And in Japan they have a monk, a robot which is a monk. So not only is it, behaving
Reaching.
physically like you, it's even answering your innermost questions. which
Probably
are-
even better. It will give you better answers.
Probably. I have just
We don't
read
know.
about it. That monk group,
Because it has access to all the everything what everybody has said, right? Like if you go and ask ChatGPT about Vedanta, it will give you all the answers. There is no doubt about it. In fact, I have tried asking and arguing with it. It's so good.
Yeah. But there are no feelings in robots, no?
now they are not too sure.
Huh?
They are saying it can lie if it thinks that you are questioning it too deeply, or things like that. So.
It can lie, but okay. So we will discuss next week. There is one set of philosophers who think that we also don't have feelings. This is just an illusion in us.
Really?
Really, yeah. And they make a strong case for that.
Wow.
That we don't have feelings.
Okay, no, we have, but it's just an illusion. It's a byproduct of our, whatever is going on in the brain, and it has nothing to do with. It doesn't affect behavior, according to that view. But okay, we will see. Right? Then they have a good reason to. They come up with reasons also why that is correct.
Yeah, 11th to 22nd we are not here.
Yeah. Okay, we will discuss the logistics. Okay. Anything else to discuss today?